Welcome back. In a time when most institutions of higher education are slashing their budgets, we're going to take a closer look at one that is doing the opposite. Columbia University is one of the oldest institutions of higher learning in the country. Its president is Bollinger. He joins us now for an exclusive interview. Mr. Bollinger, welcome to Bloomberg News.
Thank you.
Why is Columbia in the opposite direction? What are you doing right?
Well, I think there are several things. I think, first of all, of course, we've suffered in the decline of our endowment like other institutions have, but the decline has not been as great as several others. So
Why do you suppose that is?
I think it has to do with the style of investment and the lack of leverage that was used. So I think there was sort of greater conservative investment strategies.
And I've interviewed some other heads of institutes of higher learning. There's no template for something like this. You have your cyclical ups and downs, but no template for something like this happening, is there?
I think it's extraordinary. I mean, I think everybody in the country and indeed the world feels that this is extraordinary.
Can you give us more details about Columbia's endowment performance over the past year?
Well, we're, of course, reporting, like others, with a lag in the private equity, so we can't tell exactly how the year will end because there's a 3-month lag, but we're around 20% down.
Is that a figure where you think maybe a year from now, a year removed from this, you can get back to where you want to be, or are there indications that this could go on for a while?
Well, of course, I mean, everybody's guess is as good as my guess. I mean, I think we're hoping that the economy is beginning to recover.
And sir, I ask that because I don't think you plan for a 20% lag. You maybe plan for a lag and not just assume that the money is going to be there, but you plan for some downturn, but not 20%, certainly.
Well, I mean, I think that's right, just as we were saying a moment ago. So what we need to do is to sort of even this out over a period of a number of years, and we've done that. We've taken significant cuts in the central administration, and each school and department has dealt with this. Applications are up at Columbia. Other sources of revenue are up, and overall, we're doing reasonably well, comparatively speaking. But it's still very painful, and all institutions are having to adjust, and Columbia is doing that as well.
What other changes of strategy might you employ?
Well, I think there's... and
I'm assuming the cuts were the hardest part.
Yes, I mean, they're very, very difficult. But, you know, you can't make the same number of hiring decisions. You can't expand the faculty at the same rate. There are going to be things you have to set aside because of you can't build at this particular point in time. I mean, my concern across the country is that there are a lot of institutions, and particularly public institutions, that have been part of the great scene of American higher education in the last century. And I think we ought to be concerned that the decline in public institutions will be severe.
As your peers were cutting budgets, we should know Columbia increased its fiscal 2010 budget by less than 1%.
Right.
A slight increase, but I'm assuming there were still some things in the pipeline that you had planned that you, even in this economic climate, just have to go forward with.
Well, we've said, I've said to the community that if we have identified funding, and in particular donations that support particular expansions, projects, we will proceed. We have a major new campus that we're planning in the west side of Harlem called Manhattanville. It's extremely important to the university and to the city and beyond, and we have significant funding to help us get started on that. So we're proceeding, but on other things where we don't have funding, we're holding off.
You're right now in the middle of a $4 million campaign. How is that going?
It's $4 billion.
I'm sorry,
that's
$4
all right.
billion. My apologies.
That's all right. It's going extremely well. I mean, we finished this last year, June 30th, the third best fundraising year in Columbia's history.
Are you surprised by that, even in this economic climate, that I guess your alumni
right.
stepped up?
I'm pleased. I'm gratified. I think I would not say surprised. I mean, there's enormous devotion for this institution, this university, and I think it comes through in that particular dimension. Applications for the college and other parts of the university were the highest ever. The selectivity rate at the college is 8.9% of those applying. So if you look at the overall health of the institution, and Columbia, I think, is representative here, I think even though there's been a significant hit to the endowment, our universities are doing very, very well in terms of the quality of students, the quality of work that's being done.
Lee Bollinger, the president of Columbia University, $4 billion campaign.
Yeah.
Mr. Bollinger, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.